Jets roster crunch is coming down the pipe. On today's episode of Gangs All Here, we're going to talk about who's going to make the roster, who's not going to make the roster with our Jets beat writer Brian Costello, who will be joining us in a little bit. Frankie and I will discuss with him also the latest rumors that the Jets are already looking at their next head coach and quarterback combo, which is crazy as the season hasn't even started. Frankie, I don't know. I think it's a little weird that we're already talking about coach-quarterback combos before the season starts, but it feels like it's clickbait, man.
Well, it is a little bit of clickbait, but I'll say this. We got to start fast, man, because those conversations could happen very soon if we end up even losing to Tennessee. And I hate saying it. I hate going that far, but it's a big couple weeks for the Jets to get this roster together, and it's a huge week one. So,
yeah, we'll get Kaz's takes on who's had a strong training camp, who hasn't had a strong training camp for the Jets this year as we get ready for their third preseason game. And before you know it's going to be week one. Stick around for Gangs All Here. Kaz, Frankie, Friday night, the last preseason game for the New York Jets. They're facing up against the Giants tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Before we get to any of the discussion about the roster cuts that are going to be coming down and who's fighting for what spot and some nasty rumors that have been going on about the Jets on social media right now, we'll get into all of it. But before we get to any of that, Kaz, how you doing? You've reached the end of training camp for the Jets for the 2026 season. How's it going?
Yeah, I survived another training camp, so it's good. Now, I this is actually like my least favorite time once we get past this weekend because I it's like everything slows down Jets wise. Like the players are gonna have off next basically Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They do a luncheon on Wednesday, so like we don't see them that much. So this is a hard part of the year where there's a huge appetite for Jets news, and there won't be much Jets news for the next, 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, look, you're right. It's definitely that weird period when they go from that last preseason game to now we're getting ready for week one, and there's a 2-week buildup. But as always, there's always news with the Jets for some reason because people like to start things. And I do want to start with that, Kaz, is Jason La Canfora put out a piece yesterday saying that Woody Johnson is already investigating Mike Tomlin and that he's talked to executives that Aaron Glenn is a dead man walking. I don't know, man. That feels very clickbaity to me. I want to get your sense on the situation. Like, the guy is just about to start year two. This is like his real chance, it feels like, to put his stamp on this Jets team this year and prove himself as a head coach. What's the deal with this?
Yeah, in fairness, I did not read the whole article. I did get an email from a publicist that kind of broke down the talking points and had some quotes in there and stuff. So I think I got the gist of it, but I did not read the whole article. Yeah, look, guys, Mike Tomlin's name is going to be everywhere if the Jets are 1-5 or like pick your record. Whenever 0-1 maybe.
yeah.
Whenever the Aaron Glenn conversation starts in earnest, of course he's going to be in the conversation. And guess what? If pick a team, if the Cincinnati Bengals are moving on from Zach Taylor, Mike Tomlin's name is going to be discussed there, and he's going to be discussed wherever there's an opening at the end of 2026. Mike Tomlin's going to be the number one candidate for head coaching jobs. I don't think that's a mystery. So that, to me, that's kind of obvious. The idea that Woody Johnson's doing his homework, that's kind of nebulous. Like, I don't know what that means. Look, Woody Johnson is a guy who the last time he had to hire a coach, he hired Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman to do the homework for him and then kind of come to him and go, present to me who you find, like, present me your findings. I would have to think if they go down this road again that, Darren Muji is going to be the guy doing that job now for Woody Johnson. Woody does not strike me as a guy who is calling up coaches who've been in the AFC North and said, like, tell me about what you thought about Pittsburgh's, coverages against spread offenses. Like, so I'm not sure what that quite means. Are there GMs saying that Aaron Glenn's a dead man walking? Yeah, there's probably somebody. I'm sure somebody said that. I don't think he is. I think he has a chance here to prove himself. I don't think the Jets are going to want to reset the organization. I don't think they ever want to do that. And if you look at it, just like put the roster on paper right now, what you think the roster will be for against the Titans. and compare that to what it was the start of last year. Compare what it was to the start of the year before and how much this roster has flipped. Well, guess what? Now you're doing that again because
Yeah.
the next guy might not like big defensive linemen like Aaron Glenn does. He might like the small ones like Solid, and they have to do that. He might want to run a different offense, and they need different pieces, and he doesn't like this player or that player. So the idea that they want to restart again, no, I think Aaron Glenn has every chance in the world to be the coach next year if things go semi well this year. I won't even say well. I think we've talked about it before, what it looks like for this team. So, I'm sure Jason had people telling him that stuff. I don't doubt that. I just it feels a little premature to me. That's the Tomlin piece of it. The Lamar piece makes no sense at all to me. Like honest, just coming from I don't that doesn't I don't get that at all. I don't understand that one. I don't know, but the Tomlin one makes I get where the Tomlin one is a talking point.
Kaz, that was my next question to you was literally about that Lamar Jackson point in that article. They had said, by the way, am I looking at you? I'm looking there. I'm looking there.
You're looking there, buddy.
I'm looking there. Okay. I'm just making sure this is a new studio, everyone. I'm trying to, get my wits in here.
You're breaking the third wall here. You're supposed to be a pro here, Kaz.
No,
Frankie's making chicken parm in the second.
You saying I'm in bottles of wine here?
We
Kaz,
will get
we're ready
more
for
Jets memorabilia here, I swear.
No, Kaz, what I was going to ask, and Ryan, with this Lamar Jackson point, listen, it may not be Lamar Jackson, but do you think there's a chance that this team will look at a veteran quarterback versus a rookie next year? I mean, we know Woody Johnson might want to get a little bit ahead of himself in terms of the allure of, let's look at this quarterback who's established. Do we want to go down this rookie quarterback path again?
Yeah.
Do you think that's I think there's a chance.
I think it's possible. The Lamar piece for me is the Lamar end of it. The Jets would be interested if Lamar was available. They would nuts not to, but I don't understand why Lamar would want the Jets. Like look, we've talked about the draft picks, the 3 picks. Like if they fall in a way, Frankie, where you're like, hey, this is not going to happen. Like we're not going to get the quarterback we want. Sure. Like I know Baker is going to be a big talking point in the offseason if the Bucks don't lock him up. So yeah, I could see it. I do think the scars are still fresh from Aaron Rodgers for this organization, and I do think, even though like Muji and Glenn weren't here, I do think there's going to be a view of like, do we really want to go down this road again and bring in the veteran? Now, the Zach Wilson scars they're not fully healed either. So that you could argue that this organization has quarterback scars of all different kinds.
Yeah, that's true.
But I do think you feel better about drafting your own guy, developing your own guy, especially if you don't have a history with that player. I think, I do think that it's still way more likely that they take a quarterback in the first round next year. But yeah, if all 3 picks end up being 15 or worse or something like that, then maybe you have to look at the veteran market.
Yeah. Right. And then presumably if the Jets were picking in 15 or later, they would have a pretty decent season too, Kaz. And you'd be keeping Aaron Glenn. And I just wonder, like, this is part of the thing too that you were talking about, like, would they go after a veteran quarterback? I do wonder if Aaron Glenn would be more prone as it feels like defensive coaches are like, I want a more established veteran quarterback. I don't want to groom new rookie quarterback coming in the league. And I wonder if Aaron Glenn falls under that bucket because I do wonder about, like, if he brought in a veteran guy and let's say they had a good season this year, they might feel like they have the makings of a team that's emerging. And you think about the Lions, right, Kaz? They weren't able to make their ascent until they got Jared Goff in the building. They struggled the first year, but then he really took over the reins on that offense. And he was an established veteran at that point. He already been to the Super Bowl. Obviously, he worn out his welcome at the Rams. I am curious, though, maybe not Lamar, but perhaps there's other quarterbacks we don't even know yet would become available, Kaz. And if Glenn has a solid season, he might be like, you know what, maybe we can go after and be aggressive to get one of those veteran quarterbacks.
They have a solid season. Geno might be back next year.
It's true too.
Yeah.
Because like all these veteran quarterbacks, none of those are going to be like, oh, this is going to be the guy for the next 7 years. You're probably not thinking, maybe Lamar fits that mold, but it'd be a stopgap anyway. You're just kind of kicking the can down the road until you're going to draft a quarterback in my mind. So Geno could be here for another year in that scenario. But yeah, Glenn experienced success with Goff in Detroit. with Drew Brees in New Orleans. Like he's been on this veteran train quarterback in the successful years he's had as a coach. He was in Cleveland before that, which he probably was there for Johnny Manziel, I'm thinking, and that didn't go well. So I do think probably has a fondness for veteran quarterbacks. Most coaches prefer veterans
Yeah.
at all positions when they can play.
Frankie, walk me through how is this the most Jets way for this rumor to play out for the Jets this year with the Tomlin and Lamar rumors that quote unquote are happening right now.
I mean, listen, man, this is exactly what I would assume would happen. I mean, when you look at the Jets, you look at them just always not wanting to play the long game. They want to pressure cook everything. I always say we're the best at wanting to microwave success, but our microwave doesn't work, and we don't have an oven that's in this vicinity. So they really don't know how to put things together sometimes, and that's the one thing I think they have to realize, guys, is this is going to be a slow and steady process. To what you just said, I agree with, actually. You almost convinced me and Kaz, if they were to win 8 games, I almost wouldn't want that because maybe they're not going to look at the rookie quarterback route, or they're going to maybe look at what Kaz mentioned, maybe bringing Geno back. So I think what they need to do is they need to identify first the quarterback. College football season starts in a few days. Look at every quarterback, identify that quarterback, and then start looking at some offensive-minded pieces. If you have a defensive-minded head coach, you either need the quarterback to be at an above-average level or the play caller to be at an above-average level, preferably both if you have a defensive-minded guy. We're starting with a defensive-minded head coach and no quarterback and a play caller in Frank Reich that I don't think is going to be here next year. And if he is, it's for one more year. So, get your advantage with the quarterback.
Yeah.
Is my point. And it may take some time. Everyone can kind of grow together.
Yeah, I think overall for us, look, this is all talk about the future for what the Jets want to do. I think we should probably steer this conversation for another day, and let's really focus on the fact that the Jets are a little over 2 weeks away from starting the 2026 season. And with that, Kaz, we have the roster crunch coming. There's going to be cuts that are going to go down, and we want to break down this Jets roster with you on who you think could and could not make this roster. So let's start with the quarterback and running back positions here, Kaz. We know Geno and Klubnik are the locks for this roster, but could the Jets potentially carry a third quarterback going into this season?
No.
Wow.
I don't think there's any scenario where
Really?
they're carrying a third quarterback on the active roster, to be honest. I don't know. I think maybe they keep Brady Cook on the practice squad. I've heard good things about Brady Cook in the meeting room. He's a smart guy. They like having him around. But yeah, I don't see any scenario where they keep a third quarterback on the active roster.
It's crazy where we started with this whole Klubnik being the backup. They wanted him to win the backup job. From everything we've seen so far, Kaz, from the first 2 preseason games, do you feel like he's earned that right to be the backup quarterback?
Yeah, I do. I guess I should say if the scenario that they decide he's not the backup and there's some veteran out there that they want, but that's a tough position to come in on August 31st
Yeah,
and
it
be
is.
like, okay, learn the offense. Like,
Yeah.
you can do that at running back and you can do that at defensive end and you can learn it pretty quick. You can't really do that at quarterback. Obviously, there's going to guys who bounced around the league and maybe they played this offense before, but to me, I think Klubnik has still done enough that he's going to be the number 2. I think if there was a long-term injury to Geno, they'd have to look at what's on the market and maybe go out and get somebody else. But I do think, like I've said for a while now, I think Klubnik, if you have to go through 2 games, if Geno has a sprained ankle or something, I think he's good enough to get you through that part of the schedule.
Kaz, do you think they're confident in Cade Klubnik to be able to start some games here? Like if Geno were to go down, do you think that Frank Reich and Aaron Glenn, what's their confidence level? Because they
Frankie,
talk
not a lot, right?
Not a lot, yeah.
Like one thing I learned early on covering, like, coach told me at one point, like, there's players that you like at 200 snaps in a season.
Yeah.
And there's players that you like at 1,000 snaps in a season, right? So I think if they have to get through 2 games with Cade Klubnik, they'll be okay. Like they can game plan around it and stuff. If you have to play 14 games with Cade Klubnik, like that ain't gonna work. He's not ready for that. And even that was the case in 2023. I like people they destroyed the Jets for having Zach Wilson as the backup. They would have been fine if Zach Wilson only had to play 3 games. Like there was games where Zach played well that year. The
Yeah.
problem was that he had to play basically 17 games
Yeah.
because Rodgers went down with after 4 plays. So I'm in that boat with Klubnik. You're okay if it's a couple weeks. If it's going to be longer than that, then you're probably looking on the market what's out there.
Yeah, makes sense. I wonder if Andy Dalton was a guy that they would end up becoming available. No,
But I've heard he's been terrible in Philly, right? Like,
Yeah, really
right, but
bad.
I'm
he's
just
been
talking about
awful.
familiarity. Like he'd be able to come in and understand Frank Reich's system right away as a
Yeah.
play caller. It's just something. Again, I don't know.
Yeah, I get it. And like you go like because I feel like we had this conversation 8,000 times in 2023. How many games is Andy Dalton going to win you?
I know.
Oh,
Maybe one more than
maybe
Cade
one,
Klubnik
yeah.
would over a
Right?
7-game
Like,
stretch.
I
Like,
get it.
yeah.
Like Flacco had this freakish run with the Browns. So
Yeah.
everyone was like, look at that. But like I feel like we've talked
agree
about
with
this
you, Kaz.
through the years. Like it's like, oh, Jacoby Brissett is doing awesome for Arizona. Well, they won 1 game with him at quarterback. Like, yeah, like he throws touchdown passes and it looks better. But like the bottom line is in this league, if you're most of the time, if you lose your starting quarterback, you're screwed. There's some exceptions, but most of the time that's not a good scenario for you.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Let's talk about the running back spot, Kaz.
Yeah.
We know Brees obviously dealing with the groin injury. All indications are he should be ready for week 1. We'll see as that plays out the next couple of weeks. But Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, we feel like those are guys they're going to keep. Will they keep the fullback Andrew Beck, though, onto this roster for 2026?
Yeah, he's an interesting one, guys. And to me, he's not really about the running back room. He's about the tight end room, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to flip ahead here, Ryan, the
Yeah,
tight ends.
sure.
But like, look, we know they've got the 2 guys they just drafted with Kenyon Sadiq and Mason Taylor. Jeremy Rucker's good tight end, good blocker.
And they gave him a
And then
contract, too.
Jelani Woods has had this. Jelani Woods has had a really good training camp.
Yeah.
Frank Reich likes him. Frank Reich drafted him in Indianapolis, so that's a good thing for him. And I don't see a scenario right now where Jelani Woods isn't on this team because
Wow.
he's been a featured part of the offense all summer long. And you saw that he scored the touchdown against Pittsburgh in the first series. So to me now you're going, okay, if we have 4 tight ends, do we need a fullback? Or can Ruckert line up at fullback and Jelani Woods line up at fullback? I think that's one of the ones, Ryan, where you come down to and you're looking at the numbers and you're like, do I have a spot for Beck? If there's a spot, we'll keep him. But if he might be the guy, the 54th player, right? And like he's the guy they cut if they decide, hey, we need a little extra help at linebacker, or we need a little extra help at cornerback. We can't afford to keep Beck.
That's interesting also with the Jelani Woods of it all, because I think he has kind of earned his way onto this roster. Like you said, like he's had a really, really good camp. And he's a big body, and he'd be such a nice welcome to that red zone offense that you want to install. And
Totally.
and he's such a big threat, I feel like, in that part of the field.
Yeah.
That I don't know if Andrew Beck, he's a fullback, obviously. Like I just don't know if Beck can provide the same value that you need to score points in this league as Jelani Woods would. And I think Woods is actually a solid blocker too. Like he can do the job as a blocker. It's interesting though. Like if they don't go with Beck and they stick with 4 tight ends with Jelani Woods, let's also talk about the wide receiver room, Kaz, because Omar Cooper, we know he's going to he battles out Isaiah Williams for that wide receiver 3 spot. He's come on recently in that starting offense. We're seeing him get more reps. So that's interesting. I want to hear your thoughts on that. But then also at the same time, what do? Do they keep Tim Patrick as the veteran? Do they go with a younger name to keep on the roster? Like how they keeping 5 wide receivers? What do you see this wide receiver room looking like?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, Ryan. That's an interesting decision they have. I do think the Cooper Williams thing is probably depending on the formation that they come out in. Like either one of them could be starting, depending on what their formation they're in. Cooper started in Pittsburgh last week, so that was a positive sign, and he did have a touchdown catch from Geno Monday or Tuesday's practice. Forget which day that was. So yeah, the guy. I think Arian Smith is safe because Arian Smith is a good special teamer. Arian Smith's a good gunner for them. Arian Smith also has a skill that no one else in that receiving room has, and that's speed of like blazing speed. So if you're looking for a burner down the field, he's your guy. So I think Arian Smith is safe. To me, the Tim Patrick question is Malik McLean has had a very good training camp.
Yep.
And I also think he could be more of a special teams guy. Tim Patrick's probably not playing a lot of teams at this point. I tend to give the veterans the benefit of the doubt that especially at the beginning of the season, I feel like coaches stick with veterans. So I'll lean Patrick, but that could be one of the surprise cuts, Ryan, to see him. And I think they probably try to stash McLean on their practice squad.
The thing with Tim Patrick is, and when I went to camp, went one day, but just looking at him, he doesn't move well anymore, man. Those injuries really caught up to the guy. I think when you bring in a veteran like that, you want to hope that they can get back to what they were. But he's had a bunch of injuries throughout his career. So when you're 6'5" and you have all those injuries, it's tough to move. And he just, to me, I was looking at him specifically when we had gone to camp, Ryan Kaz, and he just looked slow. He doesn't look big enough, or excuse me, he doesn't look fast enough with his size. He's big enough. He's not fast enough to be able to get in and out of his breaks consistently. So,
before we move on to the trenches, Kaz, I do want to ask you about Kenyon Sadiq because I heard Frank Reich's comments about we do have to now limit him at the start of the season and what we want to use him offensively wise because he has missed all of training camp, as well as D'Angelo Pons. So it's a two-part question here, Kaz. First is, do we see Sadiq and Pons week one? And second part of the question is, how concerning is it the fact that your two of your four top draft picks have missed all of training camp in their rookie year, and how much it limits them at the start of the year?
I do think they'll be healthy enough to play, Ryan. I've been watching them on the side field. They're both working. They're both moving, fairly well. How much we see them is the question to me. Brownlee's had a good training camp. I think Brownlee's the nickel right now. I think Pons is going to have to work his way in there. Say Mason Taylor has had a tremendous training camp. I thought Mason Taylor has been outstanding. So same thing. I think Sadiq is going to be limited. And I thought Frank Reich was honest the other day about that, which I appreciated. Just use your brain. Like the plan with these two guys was that they were going to be Swiss Army knife, chess pieces. You're going to move them all over the field. This guy can play inside, can play outside, can do this. Sadiq, they can line him up running back. You can't do that if the guy never practices.
Yeah.
You can't do that stuff. Like you can't learn that in a classroom. So to me, they're going to come in and they're going to have the basics. Sadiq will probably be part of the basic package, and Pons isn't going to play inside and outside. You're not going to be able to do that. So they're going to have to limit the focus with those guys at the beginning, and maybe after 4 or 5 weeks they can work that stuff in practice and get them up to speed of what they hoped. So I think you'll see them, Ryan. I just don't think you're going to see them a lot early on in the season. I'd be surprised if they had a big I don't know how they could have big roles against Tennessee. They don't even have enough time right now to ramp up their bodies and get in football shape.
Frankie, what do you think? That's frustrating that we can't see those guys as much as you would like the first couple of weeks. This is a tough blow for these guys to start their rookie seasons.
Yeah, it is, man. Of course it is. I mean, these are highly touted rookies that have come in. Sadiq was a 16th overall pick as a tight end. And to what Kaz is saying is spot on, because the type of plays you need to construct for Kenyon Sadiq to get open, to get yak, those aren't just traditional tight end kind of things. It's not like you could just, fill in him for Mason Taylor and have him running the same sort of routes. He doesn't do that. He's a more unique tight end. So it's going to be difficult. Unfortunately, I don't know what we're going to see from Sadiq. I've told some fans that don't get too excited if he shows up in pregame week one and you're going to get excited that he's going to play all that much. I mean, I could see maybe he plays 10% of snaps, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Pons is the one Yeah.
I don't know how you can take Mason Taylor off the field right now.
Yeah, I mean, why would you? I know, yeah. I wouldn't. I wouldn't place it, honestly.
I think his blocking still needs some work.
Yeah.
Like, man, he's been getting open left and right. Like he's just looked really good. Like I mean, I know you guys probably saw the highlight that the Jets put out there. The Moss catch that he had over, I think it was Brandon Stevens, was like, wow. That was the one we were like, holy cow, what a catch. So it seems like he has some chemistry with Gino too. Like I laugh. I think Gino's going to have chemistry with all the guys from South Florida. Right? There's this like South Florida football.
Yeah.
Like fraternity, and
Yeah.
like Gino is like for those guys, Gino's a legend,
Yeah.
right? Because he was a star when at West Virginia when some of these guys were 8, 9, 10 years old, so he's the guy. So I just don't know how you get Mason Taylor off the field right now.
The thing with Mason Taylor too is you notice, and I've noticed this. Some guys you could just tell just love football and practice and study hard. Like Mason Taylor, you can just see the guy and see how he conducts himself and how he talks about the game. Comes from a family of all football players. His godfather is Zach Thomas, isn't that something
Yeah,
like
Thomas, yeah.
yeah, so it's like everyone around him, it's like
uncle.
yeah, his uncle, yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's crazy how he's gotten better every time you see him. He just gets a little bit better, and Kaz is right. He's every time I look on line, he's making a play.
I think the most important attribute that I've seen him develop, what's standing out early on, is he can find space downfield. And it doesn't matter how close the defender is, if they're playing in zone or man, he finds that space and makes himself able to separate from that defender a little bit in order to make an easier point of target and catch from the quarterback. So
very smart football player.
It's that's what I'm saying. Like he knows where to find those edges in terms of finding the open space. It's really important for him to have that attribute because this Jets offense needs to attack the middle of the field. They have not done enough of that, in my opinion, over the last couple of years. They haven't done really anything well as an offense, but if they can attack and expose the middle of the field with Mason Taylor, it opens up a lot of things for them, especially with Brees in the run game and obviously for the perimeter with Garrett and Adonai Mitchell. Kaz, let's talk some trenches here. Well, look, the offensive line is set. We know who the starters are there. But on the fringes itself, who do you see making this roster here for the offensive line and the depth that they need?
Yeah, this is an area where I do think Muji could be working the waiver wire a little bit. It doesn't look good, guys, when the second team offensive line is in. Now, somebody can make the point, you're not going to play all 5 of them at the same time. You're going to be screwed if you're doing that. So, are you okay with one of them playing? But it hasn't looked good. Xavier Newman has been the backup center. His snaps, I feel like, have been shaky all summer. I'd be worried about him. I'd be worried about the guard position. Cole Laveo has been the first one in when they've had injuries to tackles. You have Max Mitchell and you have Chooks over there. But yeah, that will not surprise me if Monday at noon we hear the Jets picked up an offensive lineman from some other camp. Here's the problem if you're the Jets. There's 31 other teams that don't have depth on the offensive line. So a guy's getting cut by another team, that's not happening. I talked to somebody from another team who was picking my brain about the Jets roster, and they're like, "Do you think, do they have any depth on the offensive line that we could trade for?" And I started laughing. I'm like, "Who has depth on the offensive line?" I feel like maybe the Eagles do, or the Lions do. Maybe I don't know, but even then, I just feel like that's a position where there's not many human beings that can play it. And so
100%.
It's very hard. So if you're picking guys up from another roster, it's worth the guy rolling the dice, I guess, but it's probably not going to work out much better than what you have anyway.
And in terms of the waiver spot, the Jets are number 2, I believe, behind the Raiders. So they would have the second best position in order to claim an offensive lineman if one were to shake free. I mean, it's improving on the margins, but Onez Cooper, the guard that they drafted this past year in the draft, I watched some of his film. He was better in the first game.
Way better.
He was
awesome in the first game.
Against the Steelers, though.
Yeah, it was catastrophic.
It was bad.
He was playing some better players against the Steelers.
Yeah, he was.
When he came in against the Bucks, it was the second half, and remember the Bucks didn't start any of their starters. So he was playing third teamers against Tampa Bay. Yeah. Pittsburgh left their starters, minus TJ Watt and Cam Hayward, but most of their starters were in there. The first series, the backups came in. So that's legit NFL talent. Look, he's a late round pick, guys. It's going to take him time. He needs a redshirt year to watch him learn.
No doubt. Kaz, let's talk about the other side of the ball and the defensive line part. Look, we know Tavondre Sweat, now he's healthy. He's working his way, ready to rock week 1. But talk me through how this defensive line ends up shaping out and who's going to make the roster.
Yeah, I think Darryl Jackson has had himself a really good training camp. I don't think there was ever a question whether he was going to make the roster. He's a draft pick, but I thought he'd be an inactive guy for most of the season. Now I think he's part of the rotation. Onyemata, I'd be a little concerned there. I don't think he's looked particularly good.
That's
So, but
interesting.
he's obviously going to be on the roster. Harrison Phillips, you have him. You have Sweat. Who am I forgetting? Anybody on the
Mozzie
defensive line? I don't
Smith.
have.
With Mozzie Smith and I
I
guess
don't think Mozzie Smith will make the team now.
Same, yeah.
Jawan Briggs.
Yeah, he'll make the
Briggs, we
team.
forgot Briggs. Yeah,
Yep.
Briggs part of the rotation. So yeah, so they have a nice rotation there.
Kaz, touch
On
on
the interior
Anyamata a
defense
little
line.
bit. Sorry, What do you think's going on with him?
Yeah,
It's yeah.
I don't know. He just hasn't popped at all. Like it hasn't
Okay.
been, like you watch these training camp practices and it's like, oh wow, look at
Yeah.
who's number 93 and like it hasn't happened. And I just feel like and then the games I thought he was pushed around a little bit in Pittsburgh last week. So I don't know. I just
He had the
hasn't
Jets'
stood out to
lowest
me, Frankie.
PFF. He had the Jets' lowest
Did he?
PFF score against Pittsburgh by a
Yeah.
mile. He was
So
by far the worst player PFF wise. I'm just throwing that out there.
yeah, he just hasn't jumped to me. And
Yeah.
maybe the guy like that doesn't jump because he's a run stuffer, but I don't know. Other guys have. Jackson has really stood out all season, all summer, I mean. And Phillips has made a lot of plays.
Yeah.
Harrison Phillips, I think, has made a lot of plays in the backfield. Sweat is working his way back, but I think you have high expectations for him. So I don't know. I keep an eye on Yamada. He just doesn't jump to me.
Yeah, that would be a shock if they if they were. But they did give him.
They're not going to cut him
They're not
because
going
they
to cut
paid
him.
him.
They
But
paid him. Yeah.
would shock me if his playing time could go like this as the season goes on. I could see him being one of those kinds of guys.
He's
And,
getting
and
older
at
too.
some point they go, maybe we're better off playing Jackson and seeing what we got there.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's talk about the edge. We know they brought in Enembari. They brought in Joseph Osai. They drafted David Bailey. Will McDonald is back, obviously. But
Yeah.
there's some other guys there with Braden McGregor, Tyler Barron, Nate Lynn, who look pretty solid against
Yeah.
the Steelers. Talk me through the edge. How does this work out?
Yeah, I don't think there's any surprises there, Rod. I think it's the guys you expect. Barron's still hurt. Like, remember, he tore his ACL late in the season, so I think he'll start the year on IR. Um, yeah, Nate Lynn was really impressive. Not just the sacks. He was winning a lot of his matchups up front. He was facing Broderick Jones,
Yep.
first round pick at one point. I just think it's probably too late for him to get a roster spot, and it's a tough room right there, right? Like you got two guys who were first round picks and two guys who were big free agent signings. I think those are your four edge rushers. So I think Nate Lynn could stick on the practice squad though.
And then what about Braden McGregor? Does he make it, or you think he's gonna be cut?
I don't think he makes it, Ryan. He's actually come on a little bit at the end of camp here. I've noticed him a little bit more. He's made some plays. Uh, that's another one, sort of like what I said with Andrew Beck. I think that comes down to the math. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, what do we have at this position and this position? Can we afford to keep a fifth edge rusher, or do we have to? Are we better served with another linebacker? Like again, a lot of these decisions are special teams related. Is Braden McGregor going to play special teams?
You're right.
Not usually an edge rusher type of thing. Like, you're not usually. So I think he probably gets caught in the numbers there.
You know what happens too with some of these players? They need a lot of reps
Mm-hmm.
to just mature and to get into their own. Braden McGregor with his defensive line, how many reps is he going to get? Even when we went to camp, I was noticing him. He got a few one-on-ones, got a few reps in team period. That's it. You're not going to get better really getting 2 reps in team period. You got to, there's more to go around. So I think if Braden McGregor were to go to a team and get a ton of reps or on a practice squad somewhere and play a lot, he might need another year or two of reps strictly,
I would like to see Nate Lynn make the practice squad if they can get him on there.
100%, yeah.
Just like Kaz said, it's been impressive what he's done so far. That last week for Steelers was pretty awesome to watch.
Yeah.
Let's move to the linebacker spot, Kaz. Demario Davis, Jamie and Sherwood, Maui Noah, McCrary Ball. Any shock there? Those are the 4 guys.
I think Michael Walker has a shot. He got hurt, so he hasn't practiced this week. He was down for the Pittsburgh game too. That's why I know. Just to clear up one thing too, Ryan. I know this was a social media talking point. I'm not sure if it was ever cleared up after the game, but like people were like, "Oh my God, Sherwood is playing deep into the past us." But Maui Noah couldn't play. We didn't know that at the time. Maui Noah had hurt his hamstring and didn't play, and Michael Walker was down. So they just didn't have bodies to play. So I think that's why Sherwood was playing. I don't think there's. I even got a text from someone from another team. Are they going to trade Sherwood? And I'm like, they can't trade Sherwood. Like they don't have the depth behind them. So I don't know the extent of Michael Walker's injury, but I think he's a really good teams guy. I think he's another. I think he's in that group with Maui Noah and McCrary Ball where he can come in and play a little bit if you need him. So I would put him as the fifth linebacker, right? Unless his injury is more significant, I think. But I've seen him. He's been on the he's been on the side field doing stuff. So that tells me he's probably going to be okay for the season.
It'd be funny if Kaz responded because Kaz likes to make jokes, which I like about him. Imagine he says, "Yeah, absolutely." They're like joking, like being sarcastic. Then they write an article about the Jets.
It would blow up. I think Kaz.
Yeah. No, this was a guy. This was someone from a team, Frankie.
Wow,
that's crazy. This was someone from a team was asking me if they're going to trade Sherwood. So, yeah, I should have told them. Yeah, give up 3 first-round picks. Is yours.
You broker a trade.
Kaz, is there any chance that the Jets, again, looking at the waiver market, would they look to potentially upgrade the depth here, or you think they're okay with this is who they got for a linebacker spot?
It's another one, Ryan. I don't know what you find that's better than what you got, right? Like it's. I think there'd be some concerns if you had to play one of these guys a lot, but you're kind of counting on Demario has missed, I think, 1 game in his entire career, so you're kind of counting on him being an Iron Man, and Sherwood has been, other than he got injured as a rookie, but he's been pretty good, pretty healthy. So, you know, I think they'd go with Maui Noah and McCrary Ball played a little bit. So I don't think they'll be looking for that, Ryan. I don't know you get an upgrade there. So maybe like maybe there's a Quincy Williams out there to be found, like they found once on the waiver wire. But to me, I think you're probably okay with what you've got right now.
By the way, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Mike Clay just came out with a ranking. The Jets have the #1 off-ball linebacking unit in football, right? Come on.
I like Mike Clay a lot. That's saying something, though. The Jets have the #1.
I was shocked at that.
I was shocked, too. I will say this, though, guys. Go around the league and look at linebacking cores. You don't have DeMario and Sherwood. I mean, you did,
San Francisco
has a few, yeah. But, I think they're talking about
Houston. I feel like
Houston does.
The one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah,
Monster Sherwood season, Kamikaze.
Sherwood had over 150 tackles last year. Just throwing that out there.
Last year was not a good year for Sherwood.
I'm just saying.
Tackling wasn't the issue, though, Frank. Yeah. Coverage was the
pass
issue.
coverage, and Demario's not good at that either.
Or any play-action bootlegs were issues.
I was. If I was the offensive coordinator, I knew to call a play-action pass against that defense by the end of the season.
Trust me, the Steelers were doing that on last week as well. I was watching both those guys. The communication is all going through Demario Davis. The Jets defense is going to struggle if he's an Iron Man. I'm not rooting for an injury. I want to see him have a great year for the Jets. They paid him a lot of money to be the captain of that defense, but they need him. Like, he is clear cut the vocal leader of that interior of that defense. But then if we go to the secondary, the other vocal leaders, Minkah Fitzpatrick, who they brought in this offseason, obviously, he's a lock for the roster. But Kaz, talk me through the secondary as a whole with the safety position. Who's going to be starting? We know there's a Dane Belton versus Andre Sisco argument going on right now. And then at the corner spot, we know Brandon Stevens is one of the starters. Pons, we're expecting to come back from injury. But there's Nashawn Wright, Azri Thomas, Jarvis Brownlee, who you talked about, Quantez Stiggers. What do they do with him?
Yeah.
Frankie has a man crush on Jordan Clark. I know that. And of course, the training camp hero, Mo Bamba. Like, there's some spots here to figure out. How does this work out for the secondary?
First, Frankie, I want to clip that Ryan was the one who talked about the DeMario injury. He's the one who brought that up. So if that happens, Frankie's the one. Ryan's gonna be the one in trouble, not you or I.
Finally.
Okay.
My hands are clean.
The safety position, obviously, Minkah. I think Belton's in the lead, but Cisco's had he had the interception in Pittsburgh. He had an interception in practice a few days before that. He's come on a little bit, made some plays, but Belton has been consistently the better player if you go through camp. He's been around the ball a lot. The 2 areas of concern I think you'd have if Belton's your starter is, one, he's your special teams. He's going to be your special teams ace. That's what he signed for. Can he now play 60 to 70 plays of defense and also do all of your special teams? Do you worry about that? Most of those guys aren't starters that are our core special teams players. The other point, and I'll give Robbie Sabo credit for this, he pointed this out, is that, both Minka and Belton are better closer to the line of scrimmage where Cisco's more of a center fielder. So is it a better fit to have Cisco in there with Minka where he's going to be the deep safety? Maybe that's not Belton's strength. But to me, Belton's in the lead right now. But I'm curious to see which way that goes. Cornerback, yeah, I think we know the top guys who are likely going to make it. Jordan Clark is an interesting one, Frankie. He is a hell of a football
He
player.
is.
Like he is just a guy who is a football player. The problem for Jordan Clark is he a redundant player on the Jets roster? Because they
Yeah.
have Jarvis Brownlee, who's had a very good training camp. They have Pons, who they drafted. So like they have two nickels already. I'm curious, could Jordan Clark play safety?
That's
Because
the
if he could play
question.
safety,
Yes.
maybe he's then, in the mix there as a third or fourth safety. I don't know. So Malachi Moore really hasn't done much all camp. I think he's kind of been a disappointment.
What's going
He is
on
playing
with him,
special
Kaz?
teams.
Yeah, he had 100 tackles
He's a
last year.
seventh round pick, wasn't he?
No.
No, he was a
No.
fifth round pick, I
Fifth,
think.
fifth, right? Yeah. Yeah, it was a fifth
Yeah, I think he
rounder.
was fifth.
Okay.
But I mean,
Um,
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
look,
weird. You have
he
100
played
tackles
last
as a
year,
rookie.
Frankie.
Yeah,
He
He's a
shouldn't have been
fourth
playing
round
last
pick.
year.
fourth round pick.
Fourth round pick.
Yeah,
He
that's
should
right.
probably shouldn't have been playing last year. And yeah, it hasn't taken that step forward, which happens. Fourth round picks are kind of rolls of the dice. Like some of them hit, but most of them don't. So yeah, Jordan Clark, to me, the question is like his versatility, but he plays teams, and I don't know. Like to me, he's just screams football player, and I like those guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, Bamba has not played since the Bucks game. He's been hurt. He has a gigantic brace on his leg, so I don't think you're going to see him anytime soon. So to me, he's probably if he's going to
stinks
be
for
healthy
him.
enough, he's a practice squad guy. But yeah, and then yeah, the other ones I think are all obvious to make the team.
The thing with Jordan Clark, I think it'd be a good message to the team from Aaron Glenn's perspective to say we're about competition, we're about merit. Jordan Clark led the team in tackles. He's led the team in tackles in preseason. He has the number one grade on P. You guys always talk about PFF. He has the number one defensive grade on PFF. Reward the kid. Kid came from Notre Dame. Remember, highly touted recruit. Didn't really get his feet too wet in Notre Dame. Didn't do all that much, but played a bit.
He
And
was
he,
Arizona State first, Frankie, right?
that's
Arizona
right.
State, and then he went to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Arizona State, then Notre Dame. And then he played last year. Remember, Jordan Clark played with the.
Yeah.
He played in a bunch. I read he played in 6 games last year. So he had a game against New Orleans. He had 5 tackles. I mean, it's not like he's some guy that not used to playing. He's played in. So he has some game experience. He's been playing very well in preseason. I just think it's a good message. But I hear you. If he's a nickel corner and you have Pons coming back with the kid we got from Tennessee.
Brownlee.
Yeah, with Brownlee, with
Brownlee.
Jarvis Brownlee. Where's he going to play? Would you have 3 nickel corners on your team? I mean, you can't. So I agree with Kaz that I would look at, or he needs to look at maybe transitioning to safety. But yeah,
Here's one for you. What if they decide Belton is the starting safety? Do they keep Cisco?
I mean that's a good question. I don't know, Kaz. I
What's the
I
depth?
think
No,
you
I
have
realize he's
to,
been-
but
He's been playing special teams a little bit, which
Yeah.
I didn't think he was going to play special teams. Like he's a veteran guy, but he's been on teams a little bit, which tells me they're trying to find roles for him. I also think Aaron Glenn could use 3 safeties a lot this season. I do think that there could be a lot of 3 safety looks because Minka is sort of he can be the nickel corner, right? Like you can play a big nickel with Minka and then have Belton and Cisco in there. But I think it's a question going into the weekend. I think it's something that the Jets have to debate is whether to keep a guy like Cisco or do you keep a guy like Jordan Clark instead? And again, can you cross train him to play a little safety if you need him there?
Kaz, what's your sense tomorrow night? Jets playing their starters, or are they going to be just playing the backups tomorrow night?
This is a total guess. I don't think they'll play the starters, but like we haven't. Aaron Glenn talked to us Monday, and then we haven't seen him Tuesday. The quarters were, and we didn't have access Wednesday or Thursday, so I don't really know. But I just my feeling now is this third preseason game has kind of become the old fourth preseason game, where it's about guys who are trying to make the roster.
Yeah.
And I also think the first offense last week, I think Glenn probably watched them go down the field and said, "All right, I've seen enough. That's good. Like we can shut it down." But yeah, so to me, I expect all backups. Maybe a few exceptions, Ryan, which will tell us like is Cisco out there playing tomorrow
Yeah.
night if no one else is. Like you can get some answers in that last preseason game of where guys stand in the roster cut down sweepstakes.
Uh, as we head into the season, cause we just went through the whole roster about who we think can make it, who we think could be potential cuts. Give me your stock up on who your stock rose this training camp, and give me who in training camp their stock is down, just on what you've seen through preseason and training camp for the Jets.
Yeah, well, Mason Taylor, we talked about. He's a big stock up guy for me. And like Ryan, you can call up. I wrote this
Yeah.
in my newsletter this week. I'm trying to remember all the guys I had in there right now because I wrote that about like almost a week ago at this
So
point.
you
But
had on your stock up Dane Belton, who we just talked
Belton,
about.
yeah, I didn't think Belton was going to be the starter coming in. I thought Cisco is probably going to be the guy, and Belton, Cisco was the starter at the beginning of training camp, and Belton has taken over as the starter now in terms of we saw in Pittsburgh last week. So yeah, I think Belton has definitely driven his stock up. And who else I
You
have?
wrote Mason Taylor, and then Adonai Mitchell is another guy who you had stock up on.
Yeah, yeah. Which Mitchell, I think that's not a huge surprise. We all kind of talked about he could be the guy this year, but he's definitely shown a lot of chemistry with Gino, and he's caught almost everything that's thrown his way. He's not dropping passes. He's been open a lot in practice. So yeah, I think all things have been positive from Adonai Mitchell so far.
Frankie, anyone else that you're up on stock wise from the Jets training camp?
Well, just to touch on Adonai Mitchell for a quick second. I mean, that kid has every attribute you'd want out of a wide receiver in the NFL.
Especially for number two.
Definitely, Rye. I mean, there is no doubt about it. So, I mean, when you look at, talent at the wide receiver position, he crosses off really every box that you'd be looking for. Stock up. Listen, I think AZ Thomas has some stock up.
Yeah,
He hasn't been much of a liability, and that's
fair.
another thing. With corners specifically, I sometimes relate it to an offensive lineman. If you're not talking about them, they're doing a good job, right? So,
Yeah,
yeah,
he also benefited, Frankie, from Nashawn Wright getting hurt.
absolutely,
Like
yes.
that competition, that was a competition in the spring where I would have said Wright was probably ahead.
Mm.
Now people have told me AZ was still recovering from his injury in the spring, so he was limited. But I felt like Wright was ahead in the spring from what I saw, and now, Wright hasn't been out there in weeks. It's definitely he just returned this week to practice, so I think it's definitely AZ's job now.
He's gonna get a lot of looks, I guess, tomorrow night, right? Nashawn Wright, is he
I
ready
don't
to
know.
play?
I think that's
Yeah.
another answer we'll get. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. Like if they think he's the starter, why? I think that they put him in the bubble wrap.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also part of this where we have to be critical, but also at the same time the season has to play out, and these guys have an opportunity to prove themselves. But Kaz, you wrote about a couple players that were down in terms of training camp stock down. First one being Will McDonald. Talk to me on what you've seen from this training camp.
Yeah, this to me isn't me saying Will hasn't had a good training camp. It's me reading the tea leaves. Like you guys saw the Pittsburgh game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he out? He didn't play. I think he played till the third series. I think he got some run a little bit with the starters, but that was about it. And then he stayed in the game for a while after that with the backups, and that sort of corresponds to what we've seen all summer, other than when there was injuries. So I think Will's battle he is an uphill climb right now. Obviously, David Bailey is the bell of the ball at this point, and he's going to be out there a lot. But Osai has looked very good since he's come back. I think he's going to get a lot of reps, and then Bari's playing a lot. So it feels like to me like Will is sort of the fourth guy in that group right now, and he's a good pass rusher, so they're gonna find ways to get him on the field. But I don't think you'll see a lot of him. I don't think he's going to be out there on first and second down too much.
Kaz, would it behoove the Jets to look at maybe moving Will McDonald?
I don't think they will, Frankie, because they're going to fear depth, right?
Yeah.
Like he's one injury away from playing a lot more. So I don't think they'll do that. Now, if things are going south and the trade deadline's approaching, Will's name is going to be thrown around a lot
Totally.
because teams called about him last year and they said no about him. They wouldn't trade him last year. So I would expect him to be a popular topic around the trade deadline.
He's got talent, just has not been able to do well versus the run. Obviously, he's a lighter guy, and he's got some tantalizing pass rush skills, but just has not been able to put it together as a first-round pick for the Jets.
What you want to see out of pass rusher sometimes, and I spoke about this in the video I'd made, it's the easy sacks that you have to get. Like that Bailey sack against Broderick Jones. That's an easy sack. That's the equivalent, like I was telling you, when there's a hanging curve as a power hitter and you just belt it. That's why I get 50 home runs, because I hit 20 off pitches like that. McDonald doesn't get sacks in easy ways. He'll have these crazy spin moves, or he'll be chasing the quarterback all over the place and get maybe a coverage-ish sack. Nothing's easy for him getting to the quarterback. You want the easy sacks. That's how you tally up 14 a year. You know?
It's a good point by you. Go ahead, Kaz.
And how many minutes in were we before Frankie brought up the David Bailey sack?
We're almost an hour.
We're almost done. We're almost done.
I was gonna say we can't go.
I had the under and I lost.
Oh, okay, nice.
What did you make of the sack, Kaz? Is that you're like, okay, I get it?
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I mean, I give Broderick Jones. It was poetic. Like it was, yeah. I thought, yeah, it was. That's what you want to see from him. He's checked every box that you want to see in training camp. Now we'll see when the, when the competition improves a little bit and he faces some tough tackles. We'll see how he does. But he's been impressive every step of the way so far.
Kaz, you know how I've been checking in on a little bit. Just I'm gonna keep notes on this guy the whole year. Jadarian Price, guys. I'm going to keep my notes. I'm just saying. Jeremiah Love got hurt, guys.
Oh, brother. Yeah. One guy's playing for the defending Super Bowl champions. The other guy's playing for
maybe the first overall pick.
Yeah. I think that's gonna be some tough sledding for Jeremiah Love out there.
Not wrong.
No, he looked good when he played in that game.
One position we have not brought up in this entire episode that we have to close on is the kicker situation.
Ooh.
Kaz, they released Cade York earlier this week.
Kaz was right.
Kaz was right. Obviously, this might not be a strong suit for the Jets this year, which is frustrating because you had Nick Folk in the building last year. Yeah. Is Jason Sanders the starting kicker week one?
Boy, I don't think so, guys.
Wow.
I think there's going to be somebody else in here before week one. Like, if you were...
Hot take.
If they televised or streamed Monday's practice, Jets Twitter would have been on fire about the kicking situation because Cade York went first. He missed 2. He was 3 of 5. He missed from I want to say 38 and 43 or 43, 48, something like that. Then Sanders comes on. He goes 2 of 5 and missed from 53. Guys, I'm not sure I've seen him make anything from distance all camp. He does not have a strong leg at all. So I don't know what's out there. So maybe there's nothing out there for them to get and bring in. But man, I gotta think Muji is freaking burning up the tapes of the UFL kickers. And is there a soccer player in Bosnia right now who he's dreamed of kicking footballs? Is Gus the kicking mule out there? That's probably too old of a reference for you guys.
Probably.
The good Disney movie, the donkey that kicked field goals at one point. He's got to be looking at everything right now, trying to figure this out. I mean, does anyone have Pat Leahy's number? What can they do? It's bad.
You know, I would look at is Brandon McManus. I believe is still available. I wanted him before
all field concerns with that guy.
I have no idea.
Yeah, there were, I think.
Oh, there were?
Yeah.
Okay, because
someone told me the guy that was here briefly is in there's a competition with the Colts. Strader, is it Spencer Strader?
Yeah.
That the Colts have a kicking competition, and he might be the odd man out there. So he was here. He was the guy the Chiefs stole from the Jets.
Yes.
That 1 year.
Yeah, Schrader. Yeah. I mean, Kaz, when we had gone to camp, we were joking around about when they went for that 63-yard field goal, and they were literally like, I'm telling you, it was 20 yards short, guys.
Can I ask?
Yeah, landed at the 10.
Yeah, landed at the 10.
Can I ask a question here?
Landed at 7.
How the hell did the Jets let Nick Folk? Again, I know he's old, but like when the first time they let him go years ago, I didn't understand it. Second time now around, it doesn't look great that you let him go again. And let's not forget, they had thicker kicker Harrison Mavis, who's the starting kicker for the Los Angeles Rams, who are Super Bowl favorites right now. And he's been pretty solid for them, too. Like, I don't understand. What am I missing here? And mind you, I know that they have one of the brightest minds, you would argue, in Chris Banjo as a special teams coordinator. But what is going on with the kicker spot where they can't get this solidified? When they have bodies,
those decisions usually aren't the special teams coordinator's decisions. I've learned that through Ask Westhoff about some of the moves the Jets have made. When he was there, he lose his mind. And who's Seattle's kicker? I forget. Oh, Jason Myers, right? Like the Jets had him and let him go. Yeah, it's puzzling, Ryan. There's some people with the Jets say Folk wanted to go to Atlanta. He wanted to kick in a dome. He wanted to be closer to home, but he lives in Texas, so it's not like he went to the Cowboys. Like he's still in Atlanta. Like it's not like he's going to be able to go home all the time after practice to see his kids. So I think they were probably slow playing it a little bit and didn't expect him to get that contract he got, and bam,
$9 million, right? He got $9 million.
I think it's here's. Beyond the Folk point, guys, they're playing the Giants. Okay, the Giants have this kicker from Michigan who, if you looked in the draft, if you did mock drafts, like I did 800 mock drafts of 7-round things, he was the kicker that everyone was talking about. I don't understand. Like, why not use a 7th-round pick on that guy?
I know.
They draft VJ Payne. What's the ceiling for VJ Payne? He becomes like a 3 or 4 year special team Ashton Davis type of guy, like a special team player, maybe plays a little safety. Chances are he's going to be cut within a few years. So why not just take a dart throw at a kicker with the 7th-round pick, take the guy who everyone says is the best kicker in college, and try.
You're right.
They never do it though. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think a lot
the Giants signed him too.
Yeah, as an undrafted. Yeah, Zveda. Yeah. He's got a leg, man. He can boom it. So I agree with Kaz, especially when you don't have a kicker. It's not like we had a kicker. If you have someone, I get it. But if you don't, I mean,
it's an important position.
It's very important.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get how we can still be in this spot where you had guys and bodies in the room that had more confidence in than you do currently right now. It's just
the path of this franchise was forever changed when Greg Zuerlein missed a field goal in the rain of Denver, right? Doug Bryant changed the history of the Jets.
Doug Bryant, yes. Doug Bryant, 100%.
Bryant, Saleh doesn't get fired if he makes that field goal.
I know, but I think this franchise was forever altered. Play 4 against the Buffalo Bills with Aaron Rodgers going down.
That was the next year.
I know.
Saleh doesn't get fired if they win that game.
All right, Kaz.
Who knows what happens?
Kaz, trivia question. I just pulled this up.
We're doing Kaz trivia now?
We're doing a little Kaz trivia because I didn't know this. What number was Doug Bryant with the Jets?
Was he number 2?
Ryan says 2. Mr. Kaz?
I can't picture. 9?
No. Sanchez is number 6.
Oh,
that's unbelievable. Yeah, because I'm just looking at. I couldn't believe he's rocking the old 6. Unbelievable.
They can't see that. Frankie.
Well, I don't know. You can. Yeah, he looks like Mark Sanchez a little. He looks like Mark Sanchez's father out there.
Mr. Costello, thank you for hopping on here, giving us all your.
That's it, Ryan, huh?
Yeah, thank you for giving us all your insight on the roster crunch.
Right.
We'll be looking forward to your coverage tomorrow night, and obviously throughout the cuts throughout the weekend. And then we'll talk to you next week. We'll do a little bit of season preview. And then before you know it, it's going to be week 1, man.
I can't wait to see the chicken parm segment.
We'll bake some chicken parm in the middle of the season preview. We'll make some analogies for you. Kaz, we thank you, man. And we'll catch up with you next week, all right?
Later, Kaz.
Thanks, guys.